The Marvels is out in theaters and comes in at an hour and 45 minutes, which is such a relief in this block of films being released that are, I don't know, bulking out at 2 to 3 hours. So there is a lot of buzz about the Marvels, which means we have a lot to talk about. My channel is not monetized, and I am not reviewing for clicks or income. I'm reviewing based on the story, the production, the value, and my personal reaction as a fan. I just really enjoy doing this. And I'm going to break down the good, the bad, and the audience numbers to understand why the Marvels isn't having as good of a reception as the audience ratings would indicate that it deserves. So let's get into this. And while you're here, be sure to hit subscribe if you like the video. So when Kree rebel leader Dar-Benn devises a plan to restore the Kree homeworld that Carol Danvers unwittingly destroyed, Danvers' powers get entangled with those of Kamala Kahn and Monica Rambeau, which forces them to work together to save the universe. Kamala Kahn, played by Iman Vellani, is fun and hopeful and in a refreshing way that's infectious and really works for this film. Monica Rambeau, played by Teyonah Parris, is smart and loyal and dedicated to doing good. And Carol Danvers, played by Brie Larson, is strong, tortured, and overpowered as a superhero who finally finds her limits when her powers get entangled with Kamala's and Monica's powers. The story structure is strong with a solid plot, good casting, and some well-timed comedic moments. I was surprised by how funny the film was at times and appreciated that the Marvels didn't take itself too seriously, which is really a good thing since some of the big logic problems with the science would probably make that a little less palatable. However, totally worked for me. The comedy just totally worked. I really enjoyed that. However, if you're coming to a Marvel movie looking for strong science, you're going to be disappointed pretty much with any movie that you go see. The Marvels uses tropes and tools that tap into the science and scientific field, but they kind of act more like magic than science. And when you see it, you will know what I mean. I think this could easily have been explained away if they had just added an actual magic user to the cast, someone who could explain the magical feel of the science in the film and why the Kree's weapons or tools were able to work in a way that they did and in such an oddly targeted way. I don't know, I just didn't understand why they work so well in doing what they were doing. Magic kind of explains it more than science. So I just felt that logic gap was a problem. But honestly, it wasn't a deal breaker. All these, and I mean all these superhero movies have massive logic problems. So, I didn't really care that much about it. It worked with the story. Still, despite some of the wobbly science, the things that the Kree pulled off were unique and they were interesting. And that's why I think it worked. There was a lot of technology that made this film work, ranging from CGI to green screens and AI backdrops. I am sure there are people who would find issues here, but for the general audience member, I think the tech is going to look good. It's going to look okay, and it works well. The costumes are great, and the scenery and the soundtrack are terrific. The story also got to some deeper social issues that touched on the unintended consequences that impacts the actions that these superheroes have. It's like the cause and effect. These impacts that the superheroes have on regular people when they're trying to save the world. So they really did a good job of addressing that. And this is a point that has been overlooked for a long time in this genre. And I'm really glad they address it here. I'm glad that they take a stand on, that moral impact that it has on Carol Danvers' character. There's collateral damage, and she really feels it and she reacts to it as a human being. And I think that's one of the things that's really unique with this particular film. And it causes her to kind of shut herself off from her emotions as she desperately tries to repair the wrongs that she has done. And that's another thing that we don't see that much in these superhero films is a hero trying to right her own or his own wrongs. It also explains why she was absent when Nick Fury needed her help. Carol Danvers is a bit stiff and oddly standoffish for reasons explained in the film, and that actually works. Her cool demeanor also acts as a foil to Monica Rambeau's painful and tortured love for her aunt, and Kamala's total hero worship for Carol Danvers. It's kind of a really nice combination, a great trio of actors and characters that are working together. The three of them learn how to work together to use their entangled powers, healing those rough edges that their relationships have and making them all a bit stronger along the way. And I like that a lot as well. The one thing that made me cringe just a little, all right, maybe a lot, was the musical scene. It felt awkward and forced, as if the creative team sat around a table trying to think of things that haven't been done before in a Marvel movie and trying to think of things that a female audience might like. The musical segment felt just wrong. I don't think the core cast sold it as a believable element in the story. I don't think they believed it. It just didn't work. And I'm not saying that it couldn't have worked. There are lots of non-musical series that pull off a great musical episode, like Star Trek, Strange New Worlds, Subspace Rhapsody. Futurama's The Devil's Hands Are Idle Playthings, or even Buffy's epic episode, Once More with Feeling. It can be done. It just didn't work here. So while the singing part of the musical didn't work, it's strange that the dance fighting was actually done really well. And I did enjoy that. That was kind of cool. So I just want to make a point here. We are at an inflection point with the cinematic superhero genre. These stories are starting to feel old and stale, which means they must take risks that will break new ground and make the films feel fresh and new again. I appreciate that director Nia DaCosta tried to find new tropes and new story elements to put into the film. That was great. Kudos to her for that. The result was a film that pushes the boundaries of the superhero box. It's funny and it's sweet, and its science, while questionable, is still okay in the film. And some of the story choices are good. Some of them are great. Some of them are bad. But let's analyze what might be going wrong with the Marvels. If the film is generally a good film on paper and in the mind of viewers who actually saw it, why is it struggling in the box office? It doesn't make sense. Everything is struggling right now. That's true, but there are some issues that are specific to the Marvels that we can examine. First off, I think a large part of the audience is going to find 4 big issues with the film. First, there's a musical segment that feels out of place. This is a small segment of the film, and it isn't enough to tank it on its own, but it will stick in the mind of people as something to complain about. Second, the film's science is more magic than science. This is not something that should tank any superhero film because they are all fantasy when you get right down to it. But they should have explained it a little better because it may leave an uneasy feeling for people who want a little more logic in the film. Third, there's a huge contingent of people who enjoy hating Brie Larson for some reason. Yeah, I know I've heard that she can be tough to work with. She might be difficult, but you know, that should have zero impact on an audience member's ability to enjoy the film, since she does a good job with her role. Fourth, the film stars three female superheroes, some of whom aren't white. And I feel kind of stupid even saying that. This is likely to bother some people, but I don't really think that it'll be an issue for most people and that it would not tank the movie. Look at all the Black and female films that are crushing the box office right now. So don't think that's it either. So the lackluster response is a bit of a mystery because the script, production, and casting are all far better than the box office results would indicate. And I think we must eradicate the idea of the $100 million opening weekend, because that is a false expectation for most films, and it just isn't realistic. However, I think the audience results illustrate a point that doesn't get much attention. Here's the thing that the numbers kind of show us. The Rotten Tomatoes all reviewer score for the Marvels is 62%, and the verified critics score is only 43%, while the general verified audience gives it an 84% rating. That is 22% or 41% different, respectively, between the critics' reviews and the actual audience response. That's just a little odd. I could chalk this up to just being Rotten Tomatoes results, but Deadline also shows an audience rating of 82% for the Marvels, with a verified audience of 65% male and 35% female. So clearly, the audience liked the film. They don't find a problem with it. Therefore, the math, it's telling me that the critics got this one wrong. Either way, they are judging it too harshly. They have issues with it. They go beyond the finished product, or they are producing negative reviews and commentary to generate clicks. I don't know what it is. So, you know what? If you stayed away from the Marvels because the reviews said it tanked, it sucked, or it was horrible, you know what? Trust yourself. Give it a try and make up your own mind about whether or not it's a good film. I think The Marvels is so much better than, say, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, Thor, Love and Thunder, Blue Beetle, The Secret Invasion, even Wonder Woman 1984 and The Flash. It is better than those films. It's highly likely that you will enjoy it despite the flaws. Based purely on the general audience reaction to the film, The Marvels didn't deserve the review roasting that it received. If you are looking for a fun movie that has a few laughs, a very cool cat, and won't eat up half of your day, go see The Marvels. Thanks so much, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this film or this review. And if you did, please do subscribe for more reviews and stay tuned. There will be more coming. All right, that's it for now, everyone. I'll see you later. Bye.